Hello, welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and here at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are overwhelmed by the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. Today, we're talking about how you can make time for projects if you feel like you just never have the ability to get them done. Before I jump in, I just want to share a couple of fun testimonials from our community members. I love to celebrate our community, and I'm trying to get in the habit every once in a while, at least, to have a couple of features before the podcast and a couple of features at the end, because I literally have thousands of testimonials sitting in front of me that I just can't wait to share. Okay, so the first one I'm going to share today is from Diana. And she said, okay, so I was skeptical that this would happen for me, but I have been plugging away small step by small step, and I am accomplishing building my command central. Thank you so much to April and Eric for designing it to be in very small chunks and not overwhelming. I've been fighting the overwhelm, and it has now been kept at bay, and I'm even feeling excited and optimistic now. I'm actually looking forward to starting the processing now and accomplishing projects. And we have some beautiful photos, a little before and after, we'll put on the show notes page so you can see it. But it's so exciting to hear that Diana is now looking forward to accomplishing projects. And so you can come learn more about our Steps to Everyday Productivity program called STEP if you want to learn more about the specific system we teach. But today we'll give you a good feel as we jump into talking about projects and how to get those done. Another community feature is Laura. She said, I am super excited about getting to the processing now that I've gotten all the junk purged and my command central in place. My desk has never been too crazy, but definitely had no system on how to get things done. My mind was always all over the place with a million sticky notes everywhere, but then I'd forget to look at the sticky notes. I'd sit down and have no clue where to start and fly by the seat of my pants, hoping nothing was falling through the cracks. And in the cracks, they did fall, which always left me anxious, or I just wouldn't do anything at all. Now when I sit down, my mind is clear, I feel calm, and ready to get stuff done. Thank you, April and Eric, for this fabulous, life-changing program. And then she shows her before and after of her desk, which is lovely, and just knowing she has a system is fantastic. Literally, I'm just reading this thinking, how many people in the world are doing the same thing? A million sticky notes, things fall through the cracks, feeling anxious, not getting things done, and now Laura's sitting down and her mind is clear. Thank you, Laura, for sharing that. I love our community and I love watching what you're doing. All right, now let's jump in and let's talk about how to actually make time for projects. I received a message from one of the viewers of our YouTube channel who watched a video where I talked about 4 criteria to getting things done and talked about where to start on our to-do list. And then the comment said, hey, you used a phrase I haven't heard before. You said that you have project time each day. This is where I struggle. Could you explain that? I can't figure out how to fit in projects. You've mentioned having 8 projects going in 1 month, and I can't even figure out how to use time to work on a single project. I know there is a solution, I just can't figure it out. Do you schedule a certain amount of time every day, work on one project each day, multiple projects each day for 10 minutes. I'm so interested in learning more about your daily project time. Thanks for all you share. Your videos are so encouraging and uplifting. So thank you. I'm glad that you're finding the YouTube channel helpful. And those of you who are here on the podcast, you may want to go check out YouTube as well. Just look for Learn, Do, Become. But I love this question, and I want to really help anyone who feels like they're in the same boat. Because having the ability to identify and complete projects is one of the best ways to improve your life. Because if you think about it, anything big or anything that's going to actually create change typically could be encapsulated by a project. For example, do you want to move? Do you want to get a new job? Do you want to prepare for a family? Do you want to strengthen your family? Create systems so that you have more free time. Travel, serve, get healthier. These all can be done through effective projects. So I put together a few specific thoughts. I have 6 total to help today, and I will have it all written on the show notes page if you want to check it out there too. But first, this is kind of the first main point that I want to emphasize is that the number of projects that you choose is related to your routines and your calendar. And so when people say things like, how do you have time to do 8 projects? I don't always do 8 projects. I usually just focus on the number of projects that feels doable, considering what I already have on my calendar and what's already on my routines list. So for you, let's say that you have a ton of routines in place for home and work. And let's say you wake up early in the morning, you try to just like get maybe some exercise or a little quiet time for a few minutes, or maybe you're just jumping in the shower and you're grabbing breakfast and taking over to school and you've got to go to work all day. And then you get home and then you've got to do dinner and errands and, practices or whatever. And your family's got all this stuff and you're trying to do all these routines, but you're working a full-time job too. Well, yeah, then you're not going to have a ton of extra projects you're going to be doing in addition to all of that. You might just have literally one project, and we'll talk about how you can actually make that happen. But for me right now, for example, we're almost empty nesters. Eric and I run our own business and we work from home. I have a lot more discretion in how I use my hours, and I have more projects that I'm in charge of because I have less things on my calendar. So I just want you to think about that, because maybe think of it like a pie chart. The pie chart is the total of your time and energy to work on things. And maybe half is routines, and maybe a third of what's left is calendar and appointments. And then the final 2/3 of the half, like picture it, is project time. So just choose the number of projects that will fit in that time. And honestly, err on the low side. Consider the amount of help that you have, your health, your energy, your skills. Just don't overload yourself with projects, because what we've seen as we've worked with hundreds of thousands of people here at Learn, Do, Become over the years is that whenever you give yourself way too many projects, you just don't get them done. So you do a few at a time, and as you get them done, you can bring more on. And you might end up getting 15, 20 projects done in a month, but you just start with a few. All right, number 2. These projects need to be organized and put on a current projects list so you can actually know what you're focusing on that month. And I'll put a little picture of my current projects list on the show notes page so you can see that. But the thing is, sometimes I might fold in extra things into my life without writing it on the current projects list. Like, for example, I got this new Indian food recipe book that's like just the kind of food I've been wanting to eat. I do an oil-free diet, and so I found this great book and I wanted to make some new recipes. And that was kind of a project because I had to look through the book and find the recipes I wanted to make. And then I went to the store to buy all the spices I didn't have, and then, learning how to cook it and setting aside a night to do it. But because that wasn't really required and it just kind of felt fun to me and I had some time blocked out, I didn't put it on my current projects list. But, I just want to explain sometimes things like that are going on in the background. But what I don't want you to have is a bunch of big secret projects that are weighing on your mind but don't get acknowledged. I have a whole video on this where we talk about this 3-minute technique to get you out of overwhelm, where I share an experience where I had a few projects on my list, but really I had like 16 or something like that I was actually doing. And so I had to really streamline that. So you want to find that sweet spot and put it on a current projects list so your brain knows this is what I'm focusing on, and it's your actual list of current projects. Number 3, at the beginning of the week, I just look at what I want to accomplish that month. So I have my current projects list posted in my office. I also have it in my planner. I also put it in Asana so I can see it. I have my projects are posted in multiple places just so I remember them, and they're always like top of mind and they deserve my focus. But the list is typically for the month, and then, sometimes it's adjusted as we go. But I look at the projects for the month and I say, okay, what makes sense for this week? So let's say I'm traveling. I could work on a digital course and I could maybe do some planning for projects, but I might not be doing the deeper computer work, and I definitely won't be doing any home projects that I'd planned for the month because I'm traveling. So I'm going to be spending my time, either if I'm at a conference or if I'm out with Eric, I'm doing those things and I am not working on these other projects. You don't have to work on every project every week. The goal, though, is when you create it for the month, that by the end of the month, all of those will be done. So that's the way I look at it. And so typically what I do is, as I'm kind of creating my week, I say, all right, by the end of this week, here's what I would like to have done on these specific projects, and folding in any other big routines and things I'm working on. So I have a good feel for what I'm doing personally, with the family, professionally, etc. Number 4, for any project, we want to have really clear next actions. So we've talked a lot about these 10-minute microbursts that are really key. We want to boil projects all the way down to the very next action, because when a project feels nebulous in our brains, we just don't work on it and we procrastinate. So for example, I just got all of my holiday planning done. I'm actually recording this episode on Halloween. So I have all holiday planning completely finished before November, and usually I do it like sometime in November and sometimes into December, but this year I just was able to keep it very simple and we got way ahead, and so I'm just done. And I can't even tell you how good it feels. I'm like, I have things calendared and things that I'm still going to be doing, but all the planning is done and I just feel relaxed about the holidays. I'm not even worried about anything. Now, when I was working on holiday plans, though, I had that as a project. All of October, I only had one family project, and it was holiday plans. The thing is, if you don't have that boiled down to specific next actions, then if you look at it, you think, oh, I'm doing holiday plans. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean you're shopping for a wreath for your front door? Does it mean you're buying a bunch of presents? Does it mean you're wrapping things? Like, what does it mean? Travel plans? Like, I don't know. And so I'll just say like a few things I wrote down as little subtasks for holiday plans. So first was just talking with Eric about our holiday budget. Second was talking with our kids about their hopes and dreams for the holidays. Third, I researched local events for about 10 minutes online, went through to find what are some events that we might want to get tickets to or attend together. And then another was I was researching new traditions, and that included different service things we might want to do. And so having very, very specific things on my next actions list helped me to actually move forward. So I was able to have the discussions I needed to have. We've made the plans, they're all in place, and now I'm in a spot where I'm open to service, to other opportunities that might come up, to being present with people, to enjoying just the season and the thought and the contemplation and the spiritual aspect of it. Like that's totally possible for me because I've got it organized. But I just want to emphasize, you want to have these next actions very, very clear. And then number 5, for deep work, this is handled a little bit differently. Something like that holiday planning, I could just do 10 minutes at a time. It wasn't that stressful or big of a deal. There's a book by Cal Newport called Deep Work, and he talks about the concept of sitting down for a few hours of project time and just being able to focus, having your phone off, not having anyone coming in interrupting you, and just being able to fully get into your work. And so I have a few hours of project time open each day. So for me, usually 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is ideal for that. Sometimes it's a little earlier, sometimes it's a little later. Sometimes I do it super late at night, maybe if I didn't sleep great, and then we had a busy day, and then I go take a long nap, and then I work late into night, like if I want. But for the most part, I would say 95% of the time, my deep work is 11 to 2. So during the morning time, that's when I'm having like my scripture study, prayer, journaling. We get Spencer off to school. I exercise with Eric. We walk Sunny. We do a morning tidy, get ready for the day, things like that. Then we dive in and I'm doing like deep work and focus work. And then in the evenings, that's when we might do errands. We have volunteering we have church events. Whatever else is going on around the house, little tasks, things like that. But what I love is that because I know during each day, I typically have a few hours to work, then I can look at my work projects for that month/week, the things I'm doing that week, and I can kind of assign them days. And so typically I'll look like on Sundays, I sit down and I look ahead and I say, okay, I'll do my writing day on Monday, or when we film for YouTube, like last week we did it on a Thursday. So I just know, okay, I'm filming on Thursday. I'm going to do all my writing on Monday. I'm taking a course on YouTube right now, so I'm going to do that on, Wednesday or Friday. Like I kind of have it all mapped out. So given what's on my plate, I can kind of divide up throughout the week which days make sense. Now, sometimes I make adjustments. Like if I don't feel like recording one day, then I'll move it to another day and I'll spend that day maybe doing some computer work on a different project. But I make sure that my hours available to work mostly match up with how much I think I can get done. But again, I always do this 30% rule. I plan to only do about, to fill about 30% of my free time. And then I find often things expand or new projects come up, or not necessarily projects. If a new project comes up, then I do need to replace, so I'm not just piling more on myself. But maybe I'm helping someone with something, or the day just didn't turn out as planned. So I found that I can typically control about 30%, and then the rest of it I like to keep it mostly flexible. And this is for me at this stage of my life, running my own business. So you can adapt this for your own needs. But I do like being able to just kind of look at the week and say, okay, here's generally what I'm going to get done on Monday, generally what I'm going to get done Tuesday, and I have that prepared. And then number 6, I think the best skill is knowing how to bookmark a project and then get back to it. So for example, one of my projects for October was updating a sales page and an email sequence. And it felt really overwhelming to me because we did a huge revamp of our STEP program this year, which was awesome, but it was a huge project. So I needed to make sure that the information page about the STEP program reflected the new version. So instead of 8 modules, now we have 6. It's super quick and effective, and I'm loving it, and people are getting great results. So that's super exciting. But I needed to go make those edits, and it felt like kind of a lot. When I talk about bookmarking a project, it's so you can sit down and do some work, but if you can't get all of it done right then, you don't feel like, oh no, now I need to leave everything out on my desk or every browser open on my computer that's related to that, because if I close it all, then I will sit down and I won't even know where to start next time, and I'm going to forget, that kind of thing. So what I do is I go into Asana. I like to use a digital project manager. You could totally do this on paper as well. I did it with paper for years, but now I'm in Asana. So I'll say, okay, for updating the sales page and emails, here are the specific tasks to work on. And they're very simple and they are put in order. So for example, I made a Google sheet that had edits that I needed to make, and I put it all together. Then I link that Google sheet to the project in Asana so I can just find it. And then when I'm using videos or images or anything that goes with that project, I can link to it or keep it all with that project in Asana. And then when I'm done doing a step, I just check that step off and I can close my computer and close everything up. And when it's time to work on it again, I just open the computer and I click the little links and open the things I need, and I just jump back in. It takes like 2 minutes. And so that's the idea, is that if you can bookmark and put a pause, and then you can go shift your focus and walk your dog or take care of your kids or clean the house or, make dinner, whatever you need to do. And then it's on your current projects list, so you're not going to forget it. You have project time for certain amounts of time throughout the day. Then you can just jump in and do it. Now, let's say you have a routine-heavy life, like I referenced at the beginning, where you feel like, okay, literally I have no time even for one project. Well, what I would say is I'd want you to take 10 minutes on a weekend or in the morning when you wake up, or don't watch a TV show one night and go to bed early and then get up early the next morning and have like half hour to plan. Do something so that you have even 10, 20, 30 minutes to just sit and think, because that's crucial. There are way too many people who never take time to sit and think and reflect and figure out what would make their life better. And then they just keep moving and they're in a flurry, and then they wonder why they don't love waking up every morning. So I would say, all right, figure out just a little piece of time and ask yourself, if I were to do one project that would be the biggest domino, the one project that would make my life easier, what would it be right now? And so maybe it is something like, I've got to find a new job. This job that I'm in is like super stressful and it's too much of a commute and it's not paying enough and it's just not what I need right now. Okay, so that's your project then, new job. So then we're going to boil it all the way down. During your thinking time, you're going to go through and say, well, what would be the very next action? And you might say something like, well, I know I want this other job, but I have to be certified in this thing in order to apply. Okay, great. So now that's your project actually isn't, let's go find a new job. Your next project is, let's get certified in this specific thing. Okay, then you're asking, well, what's the next step to get certified? Okay, well, I need to register here online. Oh, but it's super expensive, but I could get the scholarship to do it. Okay, so then your project is actually, I need to apply for the scholarship to get this certification so I can apply for this new job. So now it's just, I'm going to apply for a scholarship. Okay, what's the next step on that? Well, I can go to the website and look at the application. Okay, could you do that in 2 minutes or less? Well, probably. Okay, let's open up the website. Let's see what the requirements are. Now you know all the parameters for this application. Let's say it's an essay, a letter of recommendation, filling out a form. Awesome. Okay, those are your next actions. So you write them down. You don't put anything that's dependent on something else on your next actions list, but you could pick your very next actions that could be done independently. Like, oh, I could reach out to so-and-so about a letter of recommendation, and I could work on this one essay at the same time. Great. Okay, so in your computer category or home category, you pick where you want it. You could put outline the essay for 10 minutes on this topic. And then your, under computer or phone or something like that could be to reach out to so-and-so and talk to them about what I would love for them to put in this letter of recommendation and share. So now you have very specific things that you've thought about that are not that hard, but that will lead you toward your goals. So let's say you've gone to your full-time job, you've taken care of your kids, you've done all these things, and it's the end of the day, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I have no time to work on projects. And you think, well, I did just want to reach out to this one person about the letter of recommendation. I could probably do that in like 5 minutes. Maybe I just make a little voice memo and just text that. Or maybe I just write him an email. Or maybe I do just give him a call right now and just talk for a second. That's like 5 minutes. That's totally doable to do that one little step that's going to help you then to be able to move forward on all the other things that you wanted. This is what I get so fired up about, because we were in a situation where things just felt so hard. It was back like 2008 was probably our lowest time, where we had the economy was not doing great. Eric had been working in real estate, which real estate was not doing great at that time. We had 4 little kids. He was serving in our church in a volunteer position that was like incredibly demanding. I was having health issues. Like everything was falling apart. And we were just looking at each other like, what are we going to do? And so we had to sit down and talk and say, okay, what do we want? And then we had to figure out, what's the next action? What is that next thing that we could do? Even with all these little kids and all these responsibilities and all the stuff that's stressing us out, what could we do? And we figured out one little thing at a time. And so if you feel like, well, I don't have time for projects, all I would say is, I think you're either trying to do too many projects or you haven't boiled your projects down. Because if you even pick one and you boil it down to a next action that's 10 minutes, you're going to be able to do that 10-minute thing. And then you do the next 10-minute thing. Learn to Become was built in 10 minutes at a time. Like I thank my God for what we were able to do, because it was beyond my power to be able to go build something and for us to be able to get out of that hole that we were in. But I believe in a higher power, and however you define that and how you think about it, totally up to you. But I just encourage you to be thoughtful, or if you're a prayer, be prayerful, and identify what projects really need to get done and how can I do it? What's that next step? And then you move forward with that faith and that courage, and you start watching your life change. Even today, I want change in my life. There are a lot of things that I'm like, I want to be more skilled in this area. I want to be, more excited about this area. I want to have a bigger impact here. Like I have things I want that are not happening right this minute, but I'm able to look at it and say, okay, what's the project? Like, let's get the right projects on the current projects list, and then we can move forward. I mean, one of my current projects this month in the personal area has been to discover the radiant joy of being. And that sounds so weird, but it's from the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And he says, This book is for those who have not yet discovered the radiant joy of being. And I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about. And then I kept reading. And it's basically the ability to love the present moment, just being, and not feeling like you are always waiting for that next thing to happen where you're going to feel successful. Like, can you just enjoy right now? Can you love just being where you are right now? And so that's something I've been working on. And I love it, where instead of waiting or anticipating or hoping or feeling like, oh, I'm not enough, I'm learning how to just sit and say, oh, I'm so grateful to be alive right now and just to be here right now. So, I mean, I know that might sound kind of silly, but that's been super helpful to me. Okay, so I hope that these 6 ideas that I shared today and just this conversation has been helpful to you. I love your questions. And so if you come to our show notes page, you can leave a comment or questions and you guys can communicate with each other and share what's working for you. What's a project you can do? In fact, I would love for you to report back and let me know what's a project you're working on this month that's going to make a difference in your life. It'll be awesome. Okay, I want to close up with a couple more awesome community highlights. This one is from Jody, and she said, when I started this journey 1 week ago, I was sure that there was no way I'd find anything of monetary value that I'd forgotten about. We tell people that in their piles, there's like money that they will find. And she said, but alas, today, while cleaning a shelf, I found a gift card worth $150 for our local spa. My husband had given it to me for Christmas 3 years ago. Luckily, there is no expiration date. Hello, massage or soak or facial or whatever I feel the need for. I am so excited. Thank you, April and team. And so I see this awesome gift card. It was 2021, $150. How awesome is that? Go enjoy that massage or facial or whatever it is. Like, how fun. So love it, Jody. Congratulations. Then this next one is more visual. So I'm going to put the pictures on the show notes page. But it's just these awesome before and afters of a variety of angles in this room. And the room had piles. I mean, bags, boxes, like things, I don't know, like any sunscreen. There's just just a lot of stuff, okay? Bins, everything, just big piles. And then you see how the piles just completely go away. And now there's a command central and there's clear space to work. And I love it. I get so excited because when you walk into a clear, calm space, your brain isn't stressed out about everything. You can actually breathe and think and find joy with the people in the home or in the room and do your most important work, which like that can include your personal work, your family work, your professional work, volunteer work. Like there's so many wonderful things we can be doing. So I love it. And I love hearing from our community members and seeing these dramatic changes. And sometimes they're just subtle changes. But either way, as we make changes towards building this life that we can't wait to wake up and live, oh, it's just such a beautiful way to be, I think. So welcome. I'm sending a huge hug. If today's podcast resonated with you and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is what I need, please stay close here at Learn, Do, Become. We have an email we send out each week with fun links and encouragement and community features. So you can sign up at learndobecome.com/inspiration. That might be a good way to get started. You can also find us on YouTube. We have a free Facebook group. And we have awesome programs. If you want to join Steps to Everyday Productivity, you can build your full step command central and get organized for good for the rest of your life. It'll be so fun. And we have an amazing Arise membership where every month Eric and I meet live with our community. We have a private podcast over there, and we have a monthly focus to really help you to architect your life. Because it's not just about getting out of piles. Once you do that, great. But then what? What kinds of projects are going to go on your list? What books are you going to read? How are you going to become more financially solid, closer to your family, find your purpose, connect with your higher power, all these things. So you can learn more about that at learndobecome.com/arise. And we'll have links to all of this on our show notes page, so you can click over there and check it out. But I hope you'll stay close to us here at Learn, Do, Become, because this community is fabulous. Our team is amazing, and I love our team, but it's the whole community that really is worth the effort for you to come and invest, because you're going to meet people just like you, and you'll have all of us here at Team Learn, Do, Become to cheer you on. But we are so, so grateful to be part of this. Okay, have a great day. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.